Hi there, it's Kat, and you're like, Kat, where have you been? I have been sick. I caught the flu, and yes, I wash my hands. Let's not go there. I wash them religiously. I used to be in nursing. I wash my hands. But the flu being the flu, sometimes even with the best of circumstances, you get sick. And with that said, this is my only preachy moment because we do have the mean old nasty coronavirus virus hanging out there. Is anybody watching this, wash your hands, don't touch your face. Don't go to places when you're sick unless you absolutely have to, and please wear a mask or at least cough towards the floor, the crook of your arm, whatever. But let's keep the infection rates down because I love all of you and I want to keep making videos to the 4 people who tune in. So, with that said, I am back to work at Earthbound Metephysical Shop in North Syracuse. If you have not been here, oh my God, just in the time that I was sick, they got in so many great things. I'm being teased by the owner, Robert, who I wanted to interview today, but he's shy. Anyway, so, North Syracuse, also the place to go to get the best iced coffees, hot coffees, teas, hand curated, everything's great, you're going to love it. Onwards and upwards, you're like, Kat, what is all this stuff in front of you? I am so happy you asked. It's tarot cards, because this store has one of the finest selections of tarot cards. Yes, you can go on the internet and go to Amazon and look at static pictures and that, but the joy of coming to a store like this one is I'm a professional reader. Mookie, who's not in today, or Eric, he's a professional reader, and both of the gentlemen that own and work here are readers. We know just about everything there is to know about tarot cards. With that said, I grabbed a sample. This is a very small selection of some of the things here that I really like, and I wanted to tell you why. So, first one off the deck is the Visconti Tarot. Hopefully you can see that. Yeah, you might be able to. We're still learning our camera, so we should be able to zoom, but hey, whatever. Visconti Tarot, I'm holding it up. This one is a direct reproduction of what cards we have from the Middle Ages and the Renaissance. And it is not an easy deck to do readings from. Originally, this 78 card deck was actually used to play the game of tarot, which people don't realize this, but tarot actually, it was a game kind of like hearts. So, anyways, they have it here. It's a beautiful deck, and it is one of the more historically accurate ones. But I will tell you, if you are not a huge fan of the Middle Ages and Renaissance, it can be a little tough to decipher some of the meanings in this. Alright, the Classic Tarot. The Classic Tarot is basically an offshoot of this original Visconti one. And it has imagery from the turn of the last century, and again, it's a little difficult to read because a lot of the imagery is very old and antiquated. There is no numbering on here to give you any clues. You basically need to know your tarot cards intimately to really look at them and go, oh, that's the, you know, 7 of Cups or whatever. But with that said, if you're an experienced reader and you're looking for a little bit of a challenge that's fun, can't recommend this more. The next one that I want to show you is the Golden Tarot. Now the Golden Tarot is kind of a hybrid. This one is made up of the Visconti deck that we actually have the cards from. But there's also like the Sforza deck and some other decks that we have partial cards of, that the people who came up with this kind of hybridized them, and the artwork was done by Joe Dorkin. And it's a derivative deck, but it's beautiful. It's very easy to get into because it does have a little bit better numbering system. And if you really like that look, I can't recommend this more. Alright, last one up is the Gilded Tarot, which is, again, a modern interpretation of traditional decks that exist in the 1400s onwards that we have in museums. Love this one because not only do you get a numbering system, but it actually has the labeling system. So if you're not somebody who's read tarot for a long time and has really memorized all the suits, this is a good way to get that antique look, but not, you know, have to sweat blood with it. Okay. Decks that are a little different. The Gay Tarot. I like this deck only because when you're taught to read, particularly in my family, my grandmother was in her late 70s when I was learning stuff from her, and they never occurred to them to read as anything other than the normal male-female relationships. And that was because when she was coming up, and heck, even recently, people didn't really admit to having gay relationships openly. Now that things are open, there's such a thing as gay marriage, these decks are a way to, if you are gay or you read for a lot of people who do have that lifestyle, or that's, you know, just who they are, this deck is really good at reading to them and giving imagery that they identify with. Because in a world that's geared towards male-female, having imagery that speaks to you is so important, and it makes the client sometimes feel really comfortable. And if you're a reader and you happen to be gay and you're not connecting with your cards, you may find this tarot speaks to you. You know, so it's out there, give it a try. The Frida Kahlo Tarot. Now, Frida Kahlo is a huge interest of mine artistically. Frida Kahlo was a Mexican artist who was the wife of Diego Rivera, and they were both surrealists, and her artwork, when she was alive, always took a back seat to his, and it was after her death, which she had an incredibly painful life. She had been in a horrible accident as a child, and her whole life was a lot of pain. Her becoming a set of tarot cards with her artwork as the foundation for some of this, oh my God. If you're into surrealist art and you identify with a lot of the tropes of Frida Kahlo, again, I can't recommend this more. The only negative to it is it's a little difficult to read if you're not really well versed in the tarot, because Frida, being a surrealist, drew a lot of her inspiration from just everywhere. So if you're not well versed with her shorthand for things, it can be a little confusing. The Terra de Fuego. Alright, I have to admit, I am terrible with foreign languages. If you speak Italian or Spanish, you are probably standing there cringing, going, oh, what the hell? But this one has a very pop art feel. It's very youthful and fun. And I tell people that if you really enjoy that type of look, this is a great deck. It captures the attention. You want to play with it constantly. Another artist that I love is Klimt. Now, yes, I know Klimt was a misogynist pig boy that, you know, for his time he was pretty normal, and now we want to do revisionist history and look back at him. And anyway, here's the thing about it. Beautiful deck, gorgeous, your eyes get lost in it, you want to read with this deck. and particularly for relationship stuff. It is just phenomenal. Now, the Ghost Tarot, if you're into ghosts and EMP readings and going out to graveyards and trying to find things that go bump in the night, this is for you. It's very beautifully done and has kind of a soap opera feel to it, but if that's your groove, I recommend this totally. The other thing that I recommend is the Egyptian Tarot. Now, the Egyptian Tarot has a long and stupid history because the thing is the earliest playing cards that we have is a game of deputies from the Mamluk dynasty, which is long after Pharaonic Egypt. This is long after Cleopatra dies and the line of pharaohs ends. But in about the 1920s, when King Tut fever was going strong, they really revived this stupid thing that the Roma called gypsies, but please don't call them gypsies, came from Egypt, and they brought with them tarot cards, which is complete bunk. And the early tarot decks with an Egyptian theme, that's when they first show up. Putting all that aside, if you have a love of all things Egyptian, Egyptian gods, the artwork, that kind of stuff, oh my God, you're going to love these. So, do that. Now, I grabbed 2 oracle decks because oracle decks and tarot cards get lumped together. It's just kind of the nature of the beast because they're both cards, but they are 2 different animals. Tarot cards are 78 cards with individual cards like the Hanged Man or Death that are of themselves their own meaning, their own card. Then you have the suits, which are cups, wands, swords, coins. And oracle cards don't hold to any of that. They could be 78 cards, they could be 7 cards, they could be 70 cards. You don't know. And the use of them and the meaning behind them changes wildly depending on the person who created the cards. So like the Celtic tree oracle, they look at the mythology around the sacred trees, you know, like the ash tree, the oak, rowan, that kind of thing. And then depending on how you deal these cards out and the meanings behind those trees, which they're, you know, listed on the back here, then that is the meaning or answer to what you're looking for. Oracle cards tend to be more personal. They tend to be one-on-one, not saying that you can't use an oracle card in a reading for a client, but they tend to be geared more towards personal use and aren't as involved as tarot. I also pulled the cats one because I got a buttload of cats. I like my cats. And this has very, very beautiful felines in, you know, doing cat things, and they are, it says sparks of wisdom, emotion, happiness. Basically, if you're looking for a smile and to, you know, start your day off with something positive and you love kitties, you know, hey, come get this. Are they tarot cards? No, they're oracle cards. And as long as you understand what you're buying, you won't be unhappy. So, these are the cards I pulled. Sorry you haven't heard from me in a while, guys. I will have more interviews. I'm looking to try to get Antello, the Fabulous Fellow, back. I want to interview some other people. And drink lots of good coffee. Actually, this is chai tea, but whatever. I will eventually drag either David or Robert back here because without them, I wouldn't have my fabulous room. And I also have to say hey to my great camera girl.
Yeah! I love cats. I was trying to contain that so hard the whole time. Did you see me struggle?
Anyways, without her, this wouldn't happen. And now I gotta put all these cards back. So everybody, have a really great day.